felt like I wasn't fun enough. I never wanted people to know that I struggled in my math class. I never wanted people to understand the real me. I didn't want them to know that I was really just uncomfortable in my skin. I never wanted people to know that I went from being suicidal to homicidal in just a year. I never wanted people to really know the real me, my flaws and my idiosyncrasies, my shortcomings, my bad relationships, my wrong decisions. I never wanted to be put on the line. But what I realized is that me trying to portray the best me was just me covering up my own crap, thinking that I was more than God had ever intended. John, the first chapter, John begins eloquently giving a description of who God is. At the beginning of the first chapter of John, John starts by calling him the Word, bringing in the notion that God is the essence of everything that we say about him. Not only does he give us peace, he becomes peace. Not only does he give God becomes the essence of everything that we can say about him. Not only does he give us love, he becomes love. So John began to eloquently speak about God and calling him the Word. And interesting enough, as we look through the Gospels, we see that John became God's greatest PR director. And John didn't want people to get confused with who John was. He just wanted them to know who Jesus was. So in our text, we find the Jewish leaders coming to John, and after they heard him speak so passionately about this man who was the essence of grace and truth, they came to him and they say, John, well then, who are you? And John wanted focus to stay on the Messiah. He replied very simply, and he said, I'm not the Christ. John resisted the human urge to give his resume of accomplishments. John really he really could have given the rundown of all the things he had done and all the places he had been and all the people he had helped, but he fought that urge and he said, I am not Christ. What John found most important is not who he was, but he realized it's very easy for us to allow our egos to think that people need us instead of God. It can be very easy for allow ourselves to get puffed up in the praises and the thank yous and you did real good to start thinking people need not who he is. Me. I would like to propose that who I am and where I've been should always take a back seat to the Messiah. John, when was the last time you stopped to point somebody in the direction of the Messiah? When was the last time you thought it's really not about me and it's not about what I have and it's not about the things that I've acquired, but it's about the Messiah? There were a couple of things. Grace of God. So it has nothing to do with who I am, because I only am because he is. You know, every now and again in life we find ourselves being... And it's real important that we don't get confused and think that it's all about us. It's real important that we don't think that people just like me because I'm so cute, or people just like me because I have all the right things to say. People only are drawn to you because of the God that lives on the inside. So this morning, I don't want you to get it twisted and think that the S on my chest Jesus is. He understood that Jesus was the only important person that they needed to know about. He understood that they didn't need to understand his resume. They said, well, John, who are you? You've been given all this slip about somebody who is grace and somebody who is peace. I'm sure that you came to talk about yourself. And then, well, who are you? He said, I am not the Christ, but since you asked about him, I want you to know I'm just a voice. I'm somebody that came to cry out in the wilderness that somebody needs to be saved. And since you asked about it, I'll tell you who he is. He said about himself, I am the I am. Jesus didn't have a problem with bragging on himself. In John 6:51, he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. In John 8:23, he said, I am from above and not from this world. In John 8:12, he said, I am the light of the world. In John 8:58, he said, before there was Abraham, I am. In John 10:9, he said, I am the door and nobody can come to the Lord but by me. In John 10 and 11, he said, I am the good shepherd. In John 10 and 36, he said, I am the Son of God. In John 11 and 25, he said, I am the resurrection and the life. In John 14 and 6, he said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. In John 15 and 1, he said, I am the true vine. Jesus said, I am the King of the Jews, and I'm here to save you. So this morning, if you say, Cherie, you did pretty good, it's not about me, it's about who he is. I am not the I am. God bless you.
My.